All right. My name is Casey Mongoven, and I am a recent graduate of the doctoral program here at MAT, Media Arts and Technology program at UCSB. And my background is in classical music. So I did my undergrad at New England Conservatory of Music in instrumental composition. And then I did a graduate degree at the Hochschule für Musik in Weimar, Germany, in electroacoustic composition. And then I came here. And so my topic today is, and this is what I, if you guys would, kind of like you to ponder, is the aesthetic effect of providing synchronized visualizations, so video visualizations with sonifications. So this is a little bit more specific to my work. You'll see that the research question that I formulate is a bit general, but I mean it primarily to do with sonifications of mathematical objects. So some of you, I'm sure most of you are familiar with what visualizations are, but people are often less clear about what sonification is. And this is a generally accepted definition that I've found, the use of non-speech audio to convey information. And I don't know about limiting it to speech. You also disagree? Yeah, okay. So personally, I use sonification as a means to discover rich musical structures, and as a tool, more recently as a tool for carrying out research in aesthetics. And my sonifications are audio graphs of mathematical objects, kind of the audio complement to a visual graph, or the audio equivalent. And you'll see more what I mean when I show some of the examples of my works. So I started producing sonifications. I started composing earlier than this, but started producing sonifications, what I would call sonifications, in 2002. And at that time, I wouldn't have necessarily called them sonifications. The techniques that I was using were basically, as I saw it, extensions of the principles of serial composers. And at a certain point, I don't know exactly when, but probably 2004 or 2005, I sort of saw it as a natural extension to provide synchronized visualizations with my sonifications. And in 2008, at the Hochschule für Musik in Weimar, I produced my first sonifications with synchronized visualizations utilizing a simple point graph. And you'll see a couple examples of that. And most of the works I've presented in concerts have been accompanied by synchronized visualizations at this point. So my research question is this, and as I said, this is relatively general, and I mean primarily, when I say sonifications, I mean of mathematical objects. So this may need some work, but this research is sort of in its earliest stages. And the question is, what aesthetic effect do synchronized visualizations have when provided with sonifications? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play several examples of my work. And I'm going to start by playing an example where there is no visualization. And then I'm going to play the same example with a visualization. And then I'm going to play the same example with a visualization that goes a step further. Something that I've been working on more recently called, I call them explanatory visualizations, that are supposed to impart the audience with more of an idea of what exactly is being sonified. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and play some of my work. So the first three, like I said, will be of the same work, then I'll play two, and then I'll just go ahead and give you some other examples of my sonification visualizations. So if we could get the lights, I'd appreciate it. So this is without visualization. One moment. and another sonification without visualization. And with an explanatory visualization. And just to give you guys more of an idea of some of my works, here's another sonification visualization. Small display. And this was conceived as an installation, so you can imagine this could be going all day in a museum, and then the numbers would get very large. But these are integer multiples of the golden ratio, and we're taking the fractional part of that and sonifying it. So what's closer to 0 is going to be on the left side, what's closer to 1 is going to be on the right side. With the speakers up there, it doesn't come across the screen well. It's delay-based localization. And I'll go ahead and jump next one. It's the last one I'll show. Just another example of a sonification visualization of mine. So in order to study this, I've been pondering how to create an experiment that could study the effect of providing synchronized visualizations. And this is kind of what I came up with, that subjects could be presented with sonifications, some of which are accompanied by visualizations and some of which are not, and could be asked to rate the aesthetic pleasantness on a scale of 0 through 10. Not sure how high they would rate them, but the chances of a sonification being accompanied by a visualization would be approximately 50%. So it would be different for every person that takes part in the experiment. And upon completion of testing, the results of the sonifications accompanied by visualizations would be compared with those that are not accompanied by any visualization in order to see whether there is any effect. So the null hypothesis would be that there is zero effect whatsoever, and you wouldn't notice any difference in providing a synchronized visualization. And that's it. So thank you, guys. Questions? Okay. Questions? Comments? Or ideas? Perhaps?
What was the effect? Have you measured any effect?
I have not taken, I haven't yet had any subjects, but I'd be interested in doing some preliminary testing or something like that. Yeah, what was your question?
How did you decide on your mapping? I mean, it seems very one-to-one.
That's what I try to do. It's partially an aesthetic choice, but the tuning, for example, in all of those is also derived from the golden ratio, which was used in all of these, and derived from Fibonacci numbers in the golden ratio. It's actually my own system of tunings. And then, like you said, it's very much a one-to-one mapping. So, yes?
I really like using the golden ratio. That's really cool.
Thank you.
And a third way you could test it would be to have the synchronization not synchronized. I mean, and you could.
I thought about that too.
And then
Yeah.
see if it,
A random visualization, or yeah.
Well, you could have your pictures, but it would be off.
It would be off?
Track from the sound. See if anybody
yeah.
notices if it makes a difference, and measure the brain waves or
Sure.
something.
Oh wow, I never thought about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Or heart rate or.
Sure.
Something.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
In a way, I would like to know more about those mathematical objects and the sonification is provided.
Yeah, it's a challenge. I actually presented two of the easiest ones, so sometimes they can be even more complex, and then these explanatory visualizations become even more difficult to design. But this is something I'm kind of just starting at, trying to get that across to the audience in a short time. It's almost a little lesson in mathematics as well, you know. Did anybody notice I was using the Fibonacci sequence? I'm sure those who know my work would know that, but perhaps some of you who don't know my work realized I was using that too.
Yes.
So, okay. Yes?
Tell us about the experiments you did with people. Because it sounds
Okay.
like you're starting out, but you are experienced in having people sitting there with headphones and being tested.
Yeah, I did a study here for my dissertation that involved 171 subjects who were mostly undergraduate students, but we also had a good turnout from our faculty and from our students in MAT. And I was studying the aesthetic effect of using sonifications that are related to the Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio to analog mathematical objects that are not related. So comparing sequences that on the surface look very similar, but one has a very close relation to the Fibonacci sequence and the other one does not. And the results were actually in the opposite direction, that the golden ratio and Fibonacci sequence appears that it could have some negative aesthetic effect, which was an interesting result.
So, are you going somewhere where, do you think you could come up with some kind of system that would help in teaching mathematics through the sonification visualization? Because I see a lot of potential for it.
I think you're probably right. I think it could definitely make it more interesting for some people who
And for
might not
visual
be,
people
and
having
for
to
visual
get it.
people, that's true.
I think
Yeah.
it's a really worthwhile project, honestly.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting.
You know, Casey,
Yeah.
I think
Yes.
that the Fibonacci series and the golden mean works really, I think that what you were talking about with, with your subjects, when you think about visually how good the golden mean works in the visions.
Yes.
And in sound, it seems to work much better in the durational, proportional aspect.
I know what you mean.
How structures are.
Yeah.
working as well.
Exactly.
Because that's definitely how Bartok and
Yes.
Bach.
Unfortunately, examples that are as complicated as Bartok or Bach, there are too many other associative factors that come into play when what would you compare it to? That's why sonifications are ideal for determining the aesthetic effect, because there's simple examples that strip away all other associative or combinatorial factors.
Right, but I'm talking about the sonification of using the Fibonacci as your frequency relationships.
Sure, yeah,
And
yeah.
and that
I understand
might
what you're saying, yeah.
create the less pleasing effect.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
just food for thought, and I think it's time for
Absolutely. Thank you all. Thank you.